Morning, boys. Does anyone else want to come up for a story this morning?
Is it a Halloween story?
No, it's not a Halloween story. Sorry. I get the impression you're a little excited about it being Halloween tomorrow.
It is?
It is?
Is it your favorite holiday? No, Christmas is. You didn't know
Did you? That's great. Well, I have a story to tell you. I'm sorry, it's not a Halloween story, but you can pretend that everyone in the story is in costume if you like, if that would make you feel better. But this is a story that, and I haven't told one of these for a while. We've been doing other things, but this is a story of the Holy Land, the place where Jesus was born and lived and taught people about love, taught people about God. And this is one of the stories about him. And so this is our Jesus today. And when this story happens, he was becoming really famous. He was sort of like, in a different way, but he was sort of like a movie star that anywhere he went, people would line up to try and see him. Or maybe like the Queen, they would line up.
Did he fall off a cliff?
No, he didn't fall off a cliff. There is a story about almost falling off a cliff, but we're not telling that one today. So anyway, he was becoming quite famous because of people just loved what he had to say. He was able to heal people that weren't feeling well, and he was becoming really, really popular. And so this story happens. He was heading to the city of Jericho. City of Jericho. It was a pretty big city, and the people there heard that he was coming. And so what they did is crowds of people came out and lined the streets. Everybody was in their best clothes or their best costumes and lined the streets, really excited about Jesus coming. They had cleaned all their homes, they had brought in the best foods, and everyone was hoping that Jesus was going to pick them to have dinner with. And so they were really excited. Well, there was also in this town a man, and his name was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and what that meant was that he went to all these people and he would take some of their money, ask for some of their money to give to the government. So he wasn't liked very much. And people, in fact, wouldn't talk to him at all and said horrible things about him. But he had heard that Jesus was coming, and he really wanted to meet Jesus. So he went out, and the problem was he was very short. He was a very, very short man, and he couldn't see over all the people. And no one would let him in. Because they didn't like him, they wouldn't let him move to the front of the crowd. And so he didn't know what to do. And then he suddenly saw this tree. And he thought, I know what I can do. I'm going to climb the tree, and that way I'll be able to see Jesus when he arrives. So that's what he did. He went up and he climbed up into the tree and hung on.
Did he take the people's heads?
And there he was, up in the tree. And so, as expected, Jesus arrived with some of his followers, who you'll have to imagine because I didn't bring them today. Like John and Simon and Matthew and so on. Anyway, he arrived, and the people are all cheering and they're so excited. And Jesus is walking along, and all of a sudden, he looks up and he sees this strange little guy up in the tree. And when Zacchaeus realized that Jesus was looking at him, it actually made him a bit nervous, and he almost fell out, so he had to hang on really tight. And then he felt a bit embarrassed. But he also, as he looked at Jesus, who was getting closer, he felt really good. It was like he felt the love that his mother had shown him when he was growing up. And it felt like the joy he had playing with friends when he was a boy. And then Jesus did the strangest thing. He said, Zacchaeus. And Zacchaeus thought, how does he know my name? He said, Zacchaeus, I would like to have dinner at your house tonight, if I may. Well, Zacchaeus was just stunned, but he nodded and climbed down out of the tree and went up to Jesus. Now you can see how tiny he was. And so Jesus said, well, don't just stand there. Walk with me. Let's go to your house. So they walked along. And of course, as they walked past the crowd was grumbling. I can't believe they picked him of all people. And who does he think he is, having Jesus at his house? And they were really, really mean. And they finally arrived at Zacchaeus' house. That's his house. But Zacchaeus hadn't said very much, and he had his head down. He was looking kind of sad. And Jesus said to him, what's wrong, Zacchaeus? You seem so sad. And he says, I know the work I do, being a tax collector, is hard on people. But, you know, Jesus, I give half of everything that I earn to the poor. And if I ever take too much from someone, I pay them back 4 times whatever I might have done by mistake. And Jesus was quiet for a minute, and then he went over and he put his arm around Zacchaeus. And he comforted him, and he said, you know, Zacchaeus, you are a beloved son of God, and I am proud to know you. He does, doesn't he? I wonder why Jesus, out of all of these places, I wonder why Jesus chose to go to Zacchaeus' home.
Because he's the only one that's actually real. Those are stuck on the paper.
Oh, because he's the only one that's actually real? The others are paper. Catherine? Yeah, that even though people were mean to him, he was kind, and so, yeah. I wonder how Zacchaeus felt when Jesus asked to come to his house.
Shy.
Shy? Shocked?
And then embarrassed.
Embarrassed?
Happy.
And happy?
Happy.
I wonder why the townspeople grumbled so much.
Because they thought he was being rude, but he was actually really nice.
Yeah, they thought he was being rude, but he was actually nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what happened the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Jesus gives something new to him to.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
a big cloak.
Well, that's the story. And we're going to sing a song, actually, that talks about Zacchaeus and then some other people that Jesus knew. And it's called I Saw the Rich Ones. So let's sing that together, and then you can head off to Children's Church.